Minutes,
Minutes, sorry.
All right.
we're gonna pretend.
There's no agenda.
Well, I could pull it off the computer, I could find it, it's on the, it's posted.
We'll call the meeting to order, we'll get going. Want to start with the pledge?
Yeah,
Go from there.
be nice.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hello, everybody. Happy summer. It's going by fast. School starts pretty soon, Chris, I take it?
Monday,
Holy cow.
Monday.
Monday,
Wow.
imagine.
His hair's still not gray.
It's not, it's going to. It's gonna be very soon.
So
Very-
in
Grecian, I guess,
response,
is a subtle chemical. Huh?
in response to, Dr. Casavan has another meeting to get to, I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes of,
August 9th.
July
Sorry.
24th, as written, I'm
They're
sorry,
right here.
July 24th, as written.
Okay, motion been made.
Second.
Motion made and seconded in third. For the minutes for July 25th, is there any discussion on the minutes?
July 24th.
I'm s-
It's for the 24th, they were
Oh, sorry.
prepared on the 25th.
Okay. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
And I will just abstain because I didn't read them, so, okay. Motion carries. All right, what do we get next?
So we would have the invoices for approval if Tim could go through those.
Sure, we have 3 invoices from Allied Testing. That's the material tester doing concrete cylinders and looking at rebar and bottom of footings and those
Oh,
sorts.
structural test,
Yeah,
okay.
you know, taking a look at the structural steel. So the first one is invoice 17401, and that's for $4,260. The next one is invoice 17830 for $2,495. And the third one is invoice 17918 for $5,365.
Okay. How has the testing been coming out? Everything good? We got any,
No issues.
anything going back and is in,
Can you think of, there's not been one low concrete break?
It's 3,000-pound concrete, we're getting 7-day breaks at 5,500.
really, huh?
Wow.
That's very good.
Yeah, so there's a comfort level with the concrete for sure. And they've been on
What
site
is the
looking
concrete
at,
supplier?
Breaks.
Oh, this way?
yeah, it just, everything's been fine, you know, compaction if they have to go back and do something when he's on site, but, you know, that's kind of, we haven't really had that issue, any soils lately. It's really just been concrete and steel.
Yep, yep.
Spray fireproofing, you know, really, at this point, probably just thickness and density, but we'll do the pull tests once it gets 28 days, and,
Yeah, yeah.
no, everything's been good.
That
Right.
makes some real stuff.
I'm so sorry.
Excellent, no, go ahead. I think I turn mine off too, because mine always rings. Okay, okay, so what else we got for?
So Strategic Building Solutions, Colliers, invoice 21930 in the amount of $40,893.50. That's your OPM services.
Mhm.
SMMA invoice 49391 in the amount of $30,991.47. That's the design team, all their sub-consultants and Jen. And then Fontaine's invoice number 7. It's for $1,782,097.40.
Okay,
So that's through the month of July.
okay.
So I make a motion to approve the invoices on the invoice approval form
Yes,
as written.
okay, do I hear a
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Deb.
Who's gonna be bringing those over to Holly? Okay, so I'm gonna give you, what's in the packet is just the cover page of Fontaine's application, or you have the whole one?
I have a whole a whole background.
Okay, I have an original signed one if you want that instead of the, oh, I
Okay.
have it.
His Trump's
Yeah,
yours.
Dr. Cassavant brought this
I think
one.
that's that. I got two.
And that has the backup.
Oh, you do?
Okay, so can we, should I,
Very end of it for a second.
So who's taking
Hold
Miss
on.
North's place?
so I have,
What's her name?
this is not the
Her name is
original.
Emily Saltizik.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
just-
is it?
Yeah, just break that.
Saltizik.
Can, here,
Good
why don't you
Irish
take
name.
this?
One of the things that
And I'll
they bill
take that.
for on a monthly basis, if they have it, is stored materials, and so what we
And
need
that's
to-
all in there?
what- Yeah,
Because
what we
my
need to get is the sign
great
off
granddaughter
on the,
wanted to know.
Okay, so
Oh,
I'll,
no,
Insurance
Mr.
certificate
North,
and-
I said, no, you're gonna have a
oh,
lady, but I
okay.
don't know
So I'll
her
put all
name.
this with this?
It's gonna be
Okay,
Good,
thank you.
good,
Appreciate that.
good.
Thank you.
Changes over.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Which is fine.
So from a finance standpoint, we're on budget. Big picture, we're on schedule. I did pass out just a financial spreadsheet that shows where we are. This is our full budget. It's hard to read, but at the bottom of it, you'll see that we have an approved budget, or PFA budget for the project funding agreement of just roughly $47.5 million. Of that, the town's been invoiced $11.3 million. You've encumbered, meaning you have contracts or you're committed to $38.6 million, I believe that says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
600.
there's
I think it's an
big
eight,
chunks of
but yeah.
It's an
funds that have not been committed yet. One of those is your contingency, which is good, so we have not spent much in the way of contingency. And the other one is FF&E. We haven't started ordering any furniture yet. It's actually just, we have to start meeting with the staff and going through and getting that all designed. And then we have, you remember the bid savings, so that kind of accounts for most of the difference between what's been encumbered and what our budget was. So it's all good news. We did meet with the finance subcommittee before the meeting. We approved 3 changes. One is just for some coordination with the concrete at the footing base of the column bases. Just some minor electrical modifications and some partition work in the boys' bathroom. So all told, it's about about $7,000 worth of items.
On number 21, reforming piers of building B for leveling plates out of alignment. Who's responsible for not having them in alignment to begin with? And why are we paying for somebody's mistake? I know what the plates are all about, but
I think it
why are
was-
we paying for somebody's inaccuracy, so to speak?
It was a little bit more than that, and so the way we had our base plates detailed, it's sort of the piers at the main entrance have a, sort of a parallelogram type shape
Uh-huh.
to them. So the base plates were sort of overhanging, so the way we had it detailed wasn't quite coordinated with, the
Okay.
brick, that veneer that was gonna go on. So the solution was to sort of lower that below, lower that so that the steel column was gonna be
With a
sort of
recess in.
the base plate was gonna be recessed a bit so that we
Okay,
could
all right,
clear that
all right.
condition. So,
Good answer.
yes. So it wasn't,
I'm watching
where we
you.
wouldn't be paying, yeah, we wouldn't be paying for, there were some
No, I just
conditions
wanna
where
make
base
sure that-
plates weren't, coordinating completely, and that was the steel manufacturer's issue, or if it was the installer, but we're not paying for their mistakes.
Right, okay, that's what I'm just wondering, if it was a,
Yeah, the contractor didn't put it in properly or didn't manufacture it properly. We're pushing
They're
back
not
on that.
Right.
right,
I think we were talking about what we spent out of contingency. We've only spent roughly $100,000, not even, and we've expended about $11 million of of the budget. So percentage-wise, to get out of the ground, get all the steel up, he's starting to get the framing in and have spent, relatively speaking, a minor amount, we're doing quite well.
Yep.
You would have expected, at this stage of construction to have spent more than this, so,
Yeah.
well, I don't wanna speak too soon.
Yeah, don't jinx it.
Not under our watchful eye. Okay, and electrical the modifications, what were those all about? I'm just,
Kitchen equipment.
They tell you about Pete and Henry's?
This is RTU electrical.
Yeah, with us,
Yeah.
right, so,
it was a small money anyways, but still, just curious.
so it was basically, we hadn't coordinated completely with, the rooftop units and the electrical, so there were some minor changes that we just needed to make in order to support the, you know, the rooftop units that
Yeah,
were
so you,
specified, that were,
More bracing?
I think it was more
Was
the column, the.
Placement? Is it more of a placement thing, you mean, as far as?
No,
the
I think it's a manufacturer, you know,
Yep.
you specify a manufacturer, but there's others that are equal.
Yeah,
but
or
there's-
equal, yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're not always exactly the same, and so I think the panel that these were shown to go to couldn't support
Okay.
that particular
No,
equipment.
it's a small money change, I'm just curious as to what they
Yeah.
were at, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those, procurement, you know, you can't specify a single product, you have to give an or equal, or provide a list, a number of different manufacturers that are considered equal. But they may be generally equal, that they'll heat and cool the space, but they have maybe a different power requirement,
Yeah,
it might be a different
size-wise, what have you.
size,
Yeah, yeah.
weight, various different things.
and we always try to sort of pick the worst case, but sometimes you can't always, catch everything, you know exactly what's gonna be submitted, so.
Yeah, and I was saying before, the toilet partition, is it literally just a toilet partition?
So, yeah, it was, we had to fur out a wall in one of the bathrooms so that we could get the carrier for the girls' room and the boys' room, because they were ganged bathrooms, so that they were exactly aligned, so that, so the carrier could be back to back, because they were just enough offset, so they couldn't get a carrier to do that. So it was
Okay.
literally, yeah, just furring out a wall.
Yeah, that's small money too, so,
Yeah.
yeah, good. Excellent.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but on the list, we don't really have a whole lot going on. We did talk about, just some items that are out there that we're monitoring, so we'll keep a list of any potential costs, but, right now, we're still in very good shape.
There's no foreseen, unforeseen, there's nothing sticking out that we have to address
Oh,
later on?
there is, but nothing that we have to address, just those items. We are doing a couple of things on time and material. One is where there's a gravity-fed drainage line, and as it crossed the road, it was gonna hit smack dab in the center of the
Oh, water main. Yeah, yeah.
So we had to reroute the water main around it. And then there were some tie-ins to the existing water lines, and it turned out that those
Asbestos
water
pipe.
lines were asbestos pipes, so we had to have certain
And we had talked
licensed
about that
people take care
before.
of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember, we had discussed that, and you knew that that was coming.
Yeah, so it's those types of items. You know, we put down stuff that we don't know if it will or it may not have a cost impact. One item that we just put down is, we talked today, we had a meeting to talk about the security and coordination of door, you know, key swipes, key fobs, and camera locations and those sorts of things. So it's been a while since we kind of met with the SRO and talked with everybody about what the plan was. We want to run that by them again. And in today's discussion, we were talking about maybe adding some additional cameras. So we'll see if that's something that comes to pass, and if it does, we'll bring it to you guys. But
Okay.
so stuff like that.
That's good. Shoot.
So that's all I had on finances. Matt, if you want to talk about,
Okay, sure. Right now, I'll make it easier to go from top down. The high roof, which is the classroom wing, we have all the roofing material is up on the roof. They've started today with some roofing. So that's gonna be running continuously. They're thinking about a couple of weeks, they should have all the roofs on. I think that's aggressive, but especially with the weather we get.
Oh, I know.
So intermittent, you get part of it all started, and you gotta cover up, you know, as you would do at the end of the day, so, who knows? But anyway, so, exterior sheathing is going on, as well as the stud framing, kinda working its way, being chased by the sheathing guys. They're starting the wood blocking around all the windows now, the openings to receive windows. Fireproofing's on hold until we get a roof on, because too much of it is coming off and getting saturated from, you know, all the various leaks that we have. Concrete work is basically done, with the exception of the loading dock slab, which will come after the oil tank and all that stuff is put in. Interior petitions are they've been laid out on the 3rd floor, top track, bottom track, so I would think possibly next week. I know they're supposed to get like another 8 or 9, 10 guys, so we may start standing studs up petitions, and that'll go pretty quick. MEP stuff, hangers are going in, mechanical piping's being hung, a lot of storm drain piping from the various roofs. We're getting ready to start the gym, which is gonna be a big undertaking,
Yeah.
especially since it's so high up.
All, yeah.
Electrical, not much has been happening there. Of course, they can't do too much without a dry space above them. They've been doing temp lights, temp power, lightning protection, odds and ends, but for all intents and purposes, nothing really substantial to report. Plumbing, fireproofing, the fire protection hasn't even really started yet. Again, it's a little early. And site work, we're out of Wellington Road for the most part right now. We're in that southwest corner where the pond used to be, kind of working our way towards the police station, with manholes and piping and so forth. And this weekend, they're gonna finish up the last tap on South Road for the hydrant closest to the police station. I think that's pretty much,
The other thing is that you may see is a 2-story, gray
oh yeah.
tower-looking thing. That's our mock-up. So it's a fully enclosed structure so that we can pressurize it and put it under test for wind and pressure, try and suck in water and air and see how it performs. It's been sprayed gray. It had the yellow sheathing on it, and they sprayed gray with the air vapor barrier. We'll test it. The windows are now in and caulked, so they'll be tested next week. And then once that's tested, everything works well, you go to the next stage where you start putting on your veneer, whether it's a metal panel or brick, and then you take a look at that and test it. So we're having this tested as we go and making sure that everything works there before repeating it on the building itself. So if people are questioning, what the heck is that thing, that's what that is.
Got it.
That's really cool.
Clubhouse. It's a clubhouse.
Yeah.
It's a clubhouse, it's really small.
Standing room only.
Yeah.
Matt,
Definitely.
has any of the fireproofing been compromised from the rain that they kind of prematurely did?
Well, we're gonna still have it tested. They will do full tests on it.
With the rain that we've had, yes.
Some,
my
especially,
gosh.
it comes off the
That-
edges.
Was
as
that
it
put on
poured
like at will from them, and we're not gonna be hit with an extra?
No, we won't,
application,
no,
right?
no.
Okay.
That's, I
No,
mean, it's
they-
up for
they were
them to
aggressive.
protect their material,
That's-
to protect it, it's,
Trying to get a jump on it, and, you know, they kinda roll the dice in some cases.
How
They
could
don't
we
respond.
know?
I mean, as long as it's gonna be,
Nope, it's
It-
all
It's,
on them.
it's not uncommon, that you have to go around and touch up and respray certain areas. Where I would be worried about them trying to get aggressive if we had cold temperatures, because it doesn't stick to cold steel, but,
Right, cause it frosts on the seal.
yeah, so we don't have any of those conditions, obviously. As we get into the colder weather, we'll keep an eye on that, but I think for the most part, that stuff will be
That
done
was the
now.
advantage, that was the advantage of starting the site work in the cold, so you could reap the rewards of the building in the
Exactly.
weather, for sure.
Yeah, so they'll go in, and even when contractors have to maybe scrape off some so they can get their hanger on, and then they have to patch around it, and so it's a constant thing. They're used to having to
But you're
come
good,
back.
I know you're on top of it, just curious as to how much they lost.
And they're about 60% done, but again, not all of it's acceptable
Yeah,
at
okay.
this point.
Okay.
Jen, what do you got for us?
So the only thing that I had was, I presented the proposed murals for the historic murals that we're gonna have throughout the building at the last building committee meeting, and then I distributed it, to you all. So I just wanted to make sure that, see if anyone had any comments and/or edits that were needed. If not, then we'd like to just get your approval to proceed with those.
I was fine with them. I didn't really have, I thought they were awesome. It
Yep.
just kind of,
I move to accept it as presented.
I'll second that.
all right.
All right, great,
Motion's
thank
made
you.
and seconded. Everybody in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Move forward.
Thank you.
See how
Onward
easy,
ho.
see how easy?
Yeah, it's great, that's all I have.
No, it was actually, it was pretty impressive. It's gonna look really good.
It was.
On such a big scale,
Yeah,
you know?
they did a good job.
On such a big
designing.
scale.
I can't wait.
Thank you to everyone who was involved in that.
Yes.
Everyone.
Yeah, it was, so Jones Whitsitt, who's our partner architectural firm.
Brian
on this,
Tangley
they-
helped with that too.
He
Is
did,
that an
yes.
accurate? Yeah, I
Good
would love to
design,
send
yeah.
him a thank you note
Yep.
for that, so
Give them a little clubhouse when they're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could.
I can't invite him to the clubhouse because it's not my clubhouse to invite him to. However,
You can have drinks at the clubhouse.
There are things that we're gonna be doing coming up that, we just touched on, but furniture, design, the, furniture sub-consultant sent us a schedule for procurement. It's lengthy procurement, design and procurement process, so we're starting that now in order to get furniture here on time. So we're gonna wanna meet with staff and
The
get
one-
that started.
yeah.
Technology is gonna be also kind of following the same timeline, although you kind of hold off as long as you can with technology, just because it changes so fast and prices are,
Yeah.
Right.
change and, but those aren't necessarily things you're gonna see on site as you drive by, but those are things that are gonna be, starting to take
So,
some shape.
to that, Net North, hopefully you read about it, but he resigned. We have a new principal. Her name is Emily Saltizik. She will, don't ask me the spelling. It is one of those spellings. that I-
Funny name.
S-O, yeah, it's S.
Emily S.
Emily, S-O-L-Y-T, whatever. So, so her assistant principal is Courtney Brand, and they're gonna obviously be part of this, but we have not talked about the building project, as you can probably imagine. She just started full-time this week. She's from the area, yes, yeah. So, she knows about the building project, but of course, she has no lead up to this. So I think that it's interesting, is that when Nat took over, we had a conversation about, we sat down and talked about floor plan, and actually it was a good education for me, because I had yet to see it
Yep.
as detailed. I think that we should, schedule that.
Yeah, we can
She's
certainly.
very, she can't wait to get started. She'd love this, because she doesn't know the plans, so.
Sure.
But if there's going to be a teacher component to that, we'll need to kind of, make sure that we have enough lead time to schedule their time to do whatever we need to do, so. But just as that, she'll be joining us next meeting.
oh, wonderful.
It'll be on the agenda, but we voted in, but she'll be here next meeting. She had to meet her staff today, so, which is nice to do, so.
Part of the board or just?
Yeah, it's been if I understand this correctly, I was going through the document that the BES principal was on, or the TC Belleville Elementary principal was on the board. If I'm incorrect on that, then we can certainly step back, but we
need
took
someone
Nat.
on the board, right? There's one
Do we
person
have to
missing.
make a motion to,
Yeah, I mean, we
Choose-
obviously, it's not part of
we
the
have to-
agendas, but I just
Well, the
wanted to.
town- not us, but we have to send the name to the selectmen.
Select board,
They have
right.
to vote.
Right, so
Yeah.
we would
Then
do
we
that
need to
in
do that,
between the two
Chris.
meetings.
Then
well,
we have to
between this
send
meeting,
that
I mean.
Oh,
to,
Rick's missing right now. I'm just trying to think who's missing. Rick's not missing. Rick's not here.
Yeah, Rick's on vacation, so we don't have to make.
so if you could send that to Carter.
Yep.
For us to do very quickly, like at our next meeting, that would be wonderful,
and,
but that'd be great.
and also then, once that's done, it has to go to MSBA. That has to be updated, the list and stuff, so.
Yeah, that's a form that we'll just, once it's a done
Yep.
deal. we'll
Okay.
submit it.
That's exciting.
Very exciting.
That's good.
Anything else?
We got anything else going there, guys? Anybody?
I make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
Vote to adjourn? We good?
Second.
Aye.
All right,
Yes?
we're done.
Okay,
We're done.
Say,
Thank you.
second.